Good morning. I decided to go ahead and use up the rest of my grass seed and just fill in the rest of the kind of thin spots. I hate sowing grass in the spring because it's extremely difficult to keep alive all summer long. It's so much better to sow it in the fall. But I thought if I can at least get it to take a stand, it'll help crowd out any weeds. And I was a little hesitant on this side of the yard because I am going to be putting out a pre-emergent weed preventer here probably the 1st of April to keep crabgrass from sprouting, because the neighbor down the hill from me, like, her yard is just basically one big giant crabgrass field. So I have worked my butt off getting this yard, because it was basically nothing but weeds when I bought this house 7 years ago. And I literally crawled around this yard on my hands and knees pulling crabgrass like 2 summers in a row, because it was so bad. That was the only way that I could get rid of it. Like, doing pre-emergent just was not enough. It would stop it for about a month and then it would sprout anyway. So I did that, and that heavily got rid of it. But because of her yard just being so full of crabgrass, I feel like this whole side of my lot still, it like continues to creep in. So I do use pre-emergent, or I'm going to at least this year on that side, and probably put it out like once a month all summer long, all the way through September, and hopefully that will be enough to stop the problem. But the problem is, if the grass seed has not sprouted and kind of taken a good hold by the time I put that out, then the grass seed's not going to sprout either. So I kind of hesitated putting it out, but I decided, you know what, if I throw it out, it ends up not sprouting, whatever, at least I tried. So the bad news is that means this whole side of the yard over here, the front yard's okay, but back here, there's definitely some thin spots. And that means that I'm going to have to use the water sprinkler and sprinkle that every couple of days all summer long when it's hot and dry. So that part kind of stinks, but because it is kind of high maintenance, just definitely, if you can do it, put your grass seed out in the fall. It's so much better. But and then also these couple of little spots here that I did is where the garden beds were last year, and I filled them in the fall, and they came up and did pretty well, but there's still kind of some thin spots here and there, and I want to get a nice good thick hold of grass, because that will keep the weeds from creeping into it. So and I won't use pre-emergent here. It's mainly all back along within about, I don't know, 10 to 15 feet of my property line is where I'll use the pre-emergent. So this part I should be able to do a pretty good stand with. But now I'm going to go and get my lawn vac bag, because my leaf blower also works as a vacuum, and I will suck up leaves in the fall and it chips them and then stores them in the bag. And rather than dumping it, I hang on to it so I can use it as mulch. Because one year I did actually buy like the Easy Straw or whatever from the store, and I feel like that added so many weeds back to my yard. You can't guarantee how many weed seeds are going to be in that, and unfortunately I think they tend to carry quite a bit. So I won't use that anymore, but I did mulch up my own leaves, and will now use that to just throw over these couple of spots. So, and then I'll be all done out here. All right, now me and my soaked socks and my dirty sleeve are gonna go inside and get cleaned up. Hello, baby girl. Where did I put my snowball hat? Good morning. For the second day in a row from the same spot. We had a storm front blow through last night, and as soon as it hit, the plastic on this thing just flew. So I went and grabbed it and brought it inside. So I had to put that back and then fix the other one that kind of blew around a little bit but didn't come off. I'm actually very shocked that this tomato cage back here did not do anything, but I guess the soil has finally had enough water and stuff in it that it compacted enough to hold it down. But anyway, we've got that back together, so not going to be much happening out here today because it's going to be cloudy and crappy. It dropped to the high today is going to be like 15 degrees cooler than yesterday, and then by Monday it's going to be back into the upper 40s, but luckily only for a day. And then it'll get back in the 60s, and so far it's supposed to stay that way for a while after that. So might be the last cold snap we're going to get. I will have to cover up like my lilac bush and hydrangeas and stuff again Sunday and Monday nights. It's going to be 30 Sunday and then 27 Monday overnight. But after that, I think we can finally say that spring has set in. So anyway, so today on my lunch break, I am going to throw together a red velvet cake because my mom's birthday is tomorrow and my grandpa's is on Monday. So the cabin is done with the drywall, so now I need to go up and I need to prime and I need to paint. But first I need to select a paint color, so I've got to go get some swatches and kind of figure out what color I'm going to do and then get some samples mixed and all of that good stuff. So I'm going to work on that this weekend, but since I'm going to be up there, I thought I would make a cake to take to celebrate their birthdays because my mom and grandpa, both of their favorite is red velvet. So that's what I'm going to be working on my lunch break today. So that's the next thing you're going to see from me. Okay, I lied. This is the next thing you're going to see from me because I think almost all of the tulips have finally come up and are blooming. They're closed right now because it's crappy outside. If the sun would come out, they would all be open. But I wanted to go ahead and capture this because the hyacinths are kind of finishing up now. So I won't have very long with the tulips and hyacinths together. You can kind of see like this one, I need to snip that off. This one is starting to wither away. So we won't have them all together for very much longer. I am a little bit disappointed in that because I did specifically design this so that I would have all these colors blooming together. And it seemed like the tulips did not actually come up until the hyacinths were almost done. So, I mean, I guess it's good because we're gonna have some color for a little while. I just wish I would have longer with all of it together. But anyway, heading back inside and starting work. Hi, so I am working on my mom and grandpa's red velvet cake, and this is definitely not healthy. It is not nutritious. It is not vegan in any way, shape, or form. It is just a traditional old red velvet cake. My grandpa's definitely not plant-based. My mom and stepdad are now since my stepdad's heart attack, but I think they're kind of more like me where they're not teetotalers. They are just, 95% of the time, but make exceptions for special occasion situations such as this. So I am making the tried and true traditional red velvet or red Waldorf Astoria cake that they love. So not really much else to say on that. We're just going to get with it. just in time for me to clock back into work. I'm going to let those cool for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to take them out of the pans and let them finish cooling completely on the rack. And then probably after I get off work tonight, I'm going to go ahead and get the icing together. I have my butter sitting out so it can be at room temperature. Something I did not think about, I need to look and see how much powdered sugar I have left, because I always have powdered sugar, I feel like, but I just don't know if it's enough to make a full batch of icing. So I better check on that, because if not, then I'll probably have to wait and make the icing in the morning after I run by, because we're going to do our errands in the morning anyway, so that I can run by and get some sugar or some powdered sugar if I need it. Or even tonight, because it's Friday night and Michael's going to want to do another fish fry. I think he talked about going to Pork Capes. We'll probably do that, so I may be able to just stop and pick some up on our way to or from that. But anyway, icing to come, cake is done. I'm popping back into work. After I finish soaking all of these little red spots where I got food coloring on my table. All right, I have it all ready to go. I thought about putting the candles on, but they're tall enough that I don't think the lid would go over it, so I'm just going to pop them in here and take them along. But it's all set. The one downfall to a red velvet cake is they are very crummy, so it's so tough to get the icing on without getting crumbs in the icing. But I'm not too worried about it. I did the traditional putting the crumbs around the bottom of the cake. Now this one, I did wrap it in plastic and store it away overnight so I could finish it this morning. So because of the plastic being around it, it was more like damp or moist than normal. So instead of getting like little teeny crumbs, I kind of got more chunks, but it works either way. So we're all set. I'm going to cover it up and have it ready to go. And then it is 8 o'clock. So it's just about time to head out and get our morning errands done. trying to pick a paint color, and this one reminds me too much of that. This is what I have at home in my kitchen and bathroom, and then this is what I have in all of my main living area. And I loved this color in my kitchen and bathroom, but when I went to put it in my living room, it was way too gray and it didn't look good with everything. So it just blows my mind how from one room to another it can look completely different. But it's definitely way too gray for what I'm going for in here. And this color and this color are actually exactly the same, but this wall hasn't been primered yet. And so this is drywall mud that this is on, and then this is on the actual bare drywall, and that's just the difference just in the surfaces that it's on. But I definitely am ruling out the gray. This color is the same one I have at home in my basement, and it's pretty similar to that. So I think I'm going to do some samples of this one, maybe that one, but I feel like it's going to be too gray. See. And then this one, I feel like that color is too dark, that one's too light. So, yeah, I think I'm going to rule this one out. So I'm probably going to go and get a sample of this olive and the silver sage and try those in here. And so it's probably going to be between those three. And then this, it's kind of hard to tell because it is a white color, but this is a warm white that all of our trim and, gosh darn it, my brain is not working. Casings, window casings and stuff are going to be. So anyway, now I've got to run to the store and grab a couple of paint samples and come back and slap those up. And then we've got to get to measuring to figure out how much trim we need, because we're going to have, so the board and batten is going to start right around in here. So it's going to be 4 feet up all the way down. And so that will all be painted this color. And then I don't know if you can even see this in frame, but like that is going to be right in here. And then the fireplace surround. So that's all going to be the same color. And then this is going to be the rest of the walls, whatever one we choose. But all right, off to the hardware store. Not super confident about these sample colors. These little small towns, like their computer system, they couldn't find the colors I was looking for, so we had to scan it to do a color match. So it's going to be close, but it's not going to be exact. It'll cover it and it'll be okay. It's good and dry by now, so. God, those colors are so close, aren't they? Ugh, that's funny. I think that one might be just slightly warmer, like a little bit more of a yellow in it than this one. I think it's that one, which ironically is the exact same color that's in my basement. Stop that. Oh, are you recording me? Well, here, you're in my way right now. I got me a cameraman. See how good of a job he does. There we go. I painted a little swatch next to our white too. This color, I feel like because it's on a surface it's drywall mud, like bare drywall mud, and it's so much darker because that's actually the same color as this, and it just doesn't look like it, but I don't know. I think the silver sage is the winner. It would be so nice when we have a front porch in front of this thing to come sit on and look out at the view. Randomly have winter wheat just around the edges of the field. The guy that farms it, I guess, was just using it as an erosion barrier because last year this was in beans, so this year he needs to plant corn, so you wouldn't be able to get a whole crop of winter wheat because you wouldn't be able to harvest it in time to get the corn out. Yeah. I bought those for his birthday. Long, tall, skinny. Just like the person I bought them for. That was for his 40th. Almost 2 years ago now.
Didn't you sure like white?
All right, I'm finally back home and in my comfy clothes. And I completely forgot to record the whole thing at Hobby Lobby. So maybe I'll throw some pictures up here for you of the other fabrics, but pull the sales slip off of this. The original fabric that I was going to get was like a red and cream stripe, and I thought it was going to go really, really well with the curtains that I had picked out. But when I got there, and I'll put a picture of that fabric up here for sure, but when I got there and saw the fabric, it was paper thin, so it just wasn't going to be good curtain material. Or well, it's not curtains, it's Roman shades actually, but either way, it wasn't going to be good material for that. So I kind of changed my mind, and then there were two others that I found that I really liked. One was a better, like, it was more of a whitish, like a creamy white with little green pinstripes in it. That the green pinstripes, which if I can find that same fabric on Hobby Lobby's website, I'll put it up here. But the color was pretty darn close to matching the wall color, the paint color that I'm putting on the walls. But then there was this fabric, which is a darker green, and I really, really liked it with that paint color and also with the other curtains. But the main reason that I ended up choosing this one is because both sides are the same. And it's thick enough, it doesn't need to be blackout where I'm gonna be hanging it, so I'm not worried about lining it. But also, so I want what you see from the outside through the windows to be the same as what's on the inside. So if I was going to line it, then I would have to, with the other two fabrics, I would have had to buy twice as much material and double side it with the lining in the middle. And for this one, I can just make Roman shades and put them in the main windows. I haven't decided yet what I'm doing where like the sleeping area is, but at least for those windows, I can do this. So I'm gonna make Roman shades with this fabric. And then I may use the same fabric for the sleeping area, or I may go back and get something different. I don't know for sure yet, but this is what I ended up choosing. So, and I'll see if I can find a picture of this one too, and then kind of pair that with the bedding that I ended up choosing, the quilt set. So the original quilt set was like a patchwork. It was a sage green patchwork, and we have no idea what happened to it. It probably got accidentally donated. I mean, going through all of my grandma's stuff in the bedding, every time we got done at the old cabin, we would bring it in to her house and wash it, and then she would put it in the storage area in their basement, and it's gone now, and we can't find it at the farm either. So I guess it's just probably been donated. I don't know. But anyway, I think at the end of the day, it's probably for the best, because the set that I ended up getting, I think is going to go with the whole theme of the cabin a whole lot better, because the other one was like a sage green color, but I just feel like that's going to be overkill, because all of the like the walls and the ceiling, well, other than like 4 feet down, but the rest of the walls and ceiling are all going to be sage green, and I feel like that's just going to be a complete wash of green if all of that stuff is also green. So I like the fact that we have like some creams and reds to kind of break it up a little bit. But anyway, I'll try to throw together a little collage of like curtains, fabric, bedding, all of that stuff kind of together so you can see the style that I'm going for. And if I can find a good picture of a fireplace that's at least somewhat similar to what I'm doing, I'll throw that in there as well. But if so, there will be an overlay over this part right now so you can see it. If not, then I tried my best, but I couldn't find all the pictures I needed. But anyway, I am going to finally eat something and probably work on editing this video. So I will see you tomorrow when we are back at it with primer and paint. Well, that's one coat, but we're stopping for today because first of all, we don't have enough paint to do a full second coat, but also we're kind of sick of it, but it's coming along. This part down here, Mom said she'll probably start working on this week a little bit, but it's gonna be like kind of a soft white, off-white color, and then it's gonna be board and batten, so. But that's it for today. All right, I'm back home and I am whooped. It's been a very long day, a very busy weekend. So I am going to just settle in. I'm gonna finish watching Josie Irons vlog, and then I'm gonna hop back into reading because I haven't picked this book up in a couple of days. So time to get it finished. I'm only about halfway through and it's kind of a big book and kind of small print, so it's taken a little while. But anyhow, that's gonna be it for this vlog. So stick around and see what's going on at the cabin, because next weekend, if we have time, my sister's actually moving back next weekend, so we'll see what happens. But hopefully we'll have the painting done and we'll be ready to start on flooring. So other than that, I will see you again on, let's see, this will be on Wednesday, so on Sunday.